Live. And we're on. Right. Okay, so Battling Dudes, first episode of the Whiskey Hour. So today, what are you drinking?
This is Captain Morgan's.
So that's rum.
Ginger ale.
And I'm going to be trying this one, which is Sexton single malt Irish whiskey, which is supposed to be a very nice whiskey.
Oh, I like the little skelly man on the top.
Yeah, the bottle is very nice. It's almost a shame I have to crack it open, really. And what cigars are we going to be trying? I have the...
Oh, I'm not.
We have a tiny cigar.
Can't try anyone.
So I have the Foundation Cigar Company Charter Oak Pascal, which is this one, which is one of their new specials, which I'm looking forward to trying because I quite like the Charter Oak cigars. They're very nice. And the specials I haven't tried yet. So, if I can get into this bloody thing.
I just cut it.
Yes. Right, bear with me, I'll get a knife.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes. So, what are we going to be talking about?
I don't know.
These bullshit.
I don't know.
I laugh you broke your teeth. Luckily I had a knife handy, only in the next room. There we go. And then he sliced his finger off on the internet.
Hello. Let's probably get some money from someone. What's this silly bastard cut his hand open?
And away. How rough.
That's one of my favourite sounds. You know the cork coming out?
Yeah.
All like...
Yeah, it's pretty satisfying. So it does have a cork top. It smells quite nice. Smell it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't really like whiskey. So it's helpful.
Well, luckily, one of us does.
I'm more of a rum gal.
So, I'm going to pour myself a double. Quite a large double. In anticipation that this is going to be very nice.
I just did the... Such a good sound.
Put my knife away before I hurt myself.
Yes.
So, right, so the whiskey is now open and I'm going to try it. It's strong, but it's nice. Right.
I'll try a tiny bit.
Yeah.
I don't like whiskey, but...
Go for it. So the history on the...
It's alright. But don't like whiskey.
The history on Sexton Irish whiskey, a little bit of history for anyone who's interested, is that it was actually brewed by a lady who was masquerading as a man because she didn't think she'd be taken seriously as a whiskey distiller or a whiskey blender, I should say.
Doesn't sound like anything that would happen these days.
And it's a relatively recent company. Wasn't formed too long ago. So I find that quite interesting. And they're triple distilled in copper pots. And they're aged in sherry casks, which most people probably won't care about when they drink their whiskey, but I find it quite interesting, things like that. And these cigars from Foundation Cigars were... The company was formed by Nicholas Melillo in 2015, I believe. So he's a third generation cigar blender, and These are very nice. Got some little bits there because I didn't cut it very well. And the Charter Oak is named after the tree in Connecticut. Little bit of cigar history for you there. So that's why it has the tree on the label.
Wow. I, for one, feel more informed
Mm.
on things that I'm not consuming.
Yeah. And these, the Charter Oaks, are very nice, in my opinion. They're my favourite cigar currently. And this one, which is one of the specials, is very nice.
Yes.
Very strong. But I quite like a strong cigar.
Strong.
Goes well with a strong whiskey. So, we were going to discuss random things. If anyone says anything in the chat or wants us to talk anything about it, they're welcome to ask us questions. But failing that, we're just going to talk about films and games and music and shit, right?
And shit. Can't forget that and shit.
So, remember the 90s?
Ah, yes.
Remember when you could beat your kids? So, yeah, these are really nice. So if you can see that on there, it's got smoke cascading out of the top, which is a good sign because that's where you want it. And obviously for people that don't smoke cigars, I've not been smoking cigars very long. I waited. I've never smoked cigarettes and I never will.
Yeah, but they're so delicious.
So when did you first smoke?
When I was
4 years old.
I don't know. I think I remember stealing a cigarette from my brother when I was like in school, but then I think I was too scared to smoke it.
Mm.
But then I started smoking when I was at college, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was maybe 16, 17, a lot of my friends started smoking. There was quite a few people that smoked in school when I was in school. And I always thought they were like gear. I always disagreed with it. I always thought, well, why are you doing that? One, it's a waste of money.
But it's so delicious.
And I never liked the smell. Even today, as a cigar person, I still don't like the smell of cigarettes.
But it makes you look hip and cool.
Yeah. Remember the 90s before vapes existed and all the 12-year-olds used to smoke?
I mean, at this point, smoking is probably healthier for you. But...
Yeah. So I smoked my first cigar when I was 31. So I waited quite a while.
You best.
And I got into cigars after I watched... Well, one of my friends smoked cigars, and I was always curious about them because Arnold Schwarzenegger was always a big cigar guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's one of my heroes. But I never really looked at Arnold. I always looked at Arnold and thought, yeah, I want to be like Arnold. I want to lift weights and get big. But I never really thought, I want to be like Arnold. I want to smoke cigars. Because it sort of escaped my mind that I sort of forgot that he even did it until I started doing it. And then I was like, oh yeah, Arnold does that as well. But I started watching videos about really expensive cigars on YouTube, and it got me curious.
Oh, some of them are so silly though. Like, you say you like waste your money on cigarettes, but like some of those really expensive cigars, like why? why?
Yeah, well, some are ridiculous. Like one of my friends who's into cigars, he smokes Cohibas, and they're like mega expensive. Some of them are ridiculous. Like I bought a tiny Cohiba, like the size of that thing you have in your hand now, and it was like 15 quid for a tiny thing the size of a cigarette. So a Cohiba this size could be like 100 to a few hundred quid. And I've not tried the big ones, I've tried the little ones, but I don't see much to shout about in terms of like.
What do you think is like, like caviar and champagne and expensive things that are supposed to be like absolutely delicious, but they aren't really. They're just expensive and you show off with them.
Yeah, they're just for showing off. But like to me, a good cigar, the price doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but it's a taste as well, right? Because like everything tastes different. People prefer different things.
Yeah. So the first cigar I tried was a cheap cigar. I went into it, I was curious, and I thought, well, right. I looked up some cigar shops. There was one nearby, a few miles away. So I went there, and I just had a little look around, and I was like, well, what do you recommend for someone that's just starting off? Someone new to cigars? And the first thing he said was don't buy something expensive, because if you don't like it, you've wasted your money. And to try something mild to begin with. So
well, especially if you're not a cigarette smoker. Right?
Yeah. So I started off with a 4.5 inch Guantanamera, I think it was. It was about £5, so it was cheap as far as cigars go. And it was quite a mild tasting cigar. And I went out that night, and well, I also bought the Charter Oak because it was a cigar of the month, the Toro, the darker blend. And I went out that night and smoked the smaller cigar outside, and I liked it. And then the following weekend, I went out and I had the Charter Oak, and I liked it even more. And the price difference was about £15. So the Charter Oaks were like £20, and the Guantanamera was £5. And I really liked both. And I tried a few more in the coming weeks. I was going out like once a week on the weekend, having a drink and having a cigar. And some of the newer ones I tried were all right, but they weren't as nice as the Charter Oaks. And that's what made me do a little bit of research, looking into the name, why they were called Charter Oaks, what the company was about, and what else they had to offer. And then they announced in the summer the new special Charter Oaks. So naturally, I was excited. I was like, ooh, a fancy version.
Excited or obsessed?
And I did try a little Cohiba just out of curiosity, and I wasn't that impressed. But my friend Williams, who will probably be on this show at some point, as he is very into his cigars, he exclusively smokes Cohibas. But I don't know if that's because he likes the taste or he likes to show off a little bit.
Yeah.
He likes to show his money. But he also likes good whiskey, and he has recommended some good whiskies to me. So what do you think of the whiskey? You did take a little sip.
It was like kind of smooth, but I'm not really a whiskey person. Like, when it hits the back of your throat weird and you go.
Yeah.
It was quite nice. But if I like whiskey, I'd probably drink it, but I don't.
Yeah. Well, when I was younger, I used to drink a lot of Jack Daniels. And now, as I've gotten older, I've gotten into better types of whiskey, because back then it was like you drank it because it was cheap and it got you pissed.
Well, I mean, it's just a different kind of whiskey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how, like, bourbon is different to like whiskey. Like.
Yeah, well, I always sort of argue with people when we talk about whiskey, and they're like, "Oh, I like whiskey." And I'm like, "Oh, really? What's your favorite whiskey?" Jack Daniels. No, that doesn't count.
You whiskey gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make them.
That's like saying, "Oh, I'm a big car guy. I'm into cars," and then asking, "What's your favorite car?" And they're like, "The fast one."
It's just one of those things that like.
Yeah.
You could be a snob about it, or.
Yeah, but I quite like. I think I was looking for some sort of hobby. I was experimenting a little bit because I think I smoked the first one when I turned 31. I think I went out with Martin and decided to try something new. And I liked it. I didn't think I was going to like them. I kind of wanted to, but I was worried that I would be like, "Oh, that's horrible."
Well, I always like when people try cigars, they just like instantly throw up because they're too strong for them.
Yeah, well, Martin didn't like it. He tried it. And most people that have tried them that haven't before have been like, "Oh, no, that's a bit." But people also inhale them, and you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, well, it's like a natural. I don't know. If you're a cigarette smoker, it's like you're going against everything you've taught yourself.
Yeah, so I was lucky.
Muscle memory.
I never smoked cigarettes, so I went straight in at cigars. So I didn't have the habits of a cigarette person. So I went in totally fresh. So it was just a new learning experience for me, which is probably better, really, right? Well, we got someone watching now, so if you want to ask us anything, ask away because the chat is going on. So if you want to know anything or ask us any mental weird questions, I'm happy to answer. But I'm very happy with this. I'm definitely going to be getting myself a box of these. My plan this year is to buy myself a big humidifier and just fill it with all my favorite cigars.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, treat yourself to a ridiculously expensive amount of cigars. But when you think about it, it's not that expensive really, because if I bought a box of cigars of like 20 cigars, I might only have one every 2 weeks. Whereas cigarette smokers have what, like a pack a day?
Wow, yeah.
How many did you used to smoke when you were
I used to smoke rollies though. You just lose count because.
Yeah. Because if you're smoking a pack a day, what's a pack of cigarettes like?
20 deck.
20, what's that, like 10, 15 quid?
I don't know, I haven't bought a deck in ages.
So imagine, say it's 10 quid, that's 70 quid a week.
Probably not now, it's probably more like 15.
Yeah,
20.
but let's just say it's 10 because it's easy for me to add it up. So it's like 70 quid a week.
Well, so a pouch of baccy used to, I think it was like, oh God, like 12 quid, and it used to do me for the month.
Yeah. So,
but I was never that heavy. Like I wouldn't like a 40 day kind of habit.
I knew a few people that were like 40 a day, 2 packs a day.
Mm-hmm.
But say it's a tenner a pack, and you smoke a pack a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's 280 quid a month, right?
Yeah.
So if you buy a decent cigar, it's probably going to be like 30 to 50 quid.
What's the equivalent to like, well, not a pack of cigarettes. But...
Yeah, and if you have one cigar a week, that's still only like 100 to 200 quid a month. It's still cheaper than smoking because cigars aren't really the sort of thing that you have every day because they take like an hour to get through.
Oh, no, unless you have the time or you're some high-flying business person.
Yeah, if you're retired or a businessman and you have the time and money to blow on them, then yeah, fair enough. But I quite like it. I look forward to trying new ones and going out. It's a bit more of an event. This is starting to go out though. And I quite like the accessories. They're quite fun. Like some of the fancy little sparkly little lighters you can get, and these, the cutters. I have quite a few cutters. I have a fancy little nice cutter as well. So it's a nice little hobby for me because I don't buy games and I don't smoke cigarettes or do crack or anything. So I have spare money that I'm like, I'll just end up spending it on pizza or something.
Well, you have
Buy
to
myself stupid stuff.
weigh it whether it's buying pizza, buying cigars. It's both detrimental to your health.
Yeah, this is dulling out a little bit. I need to relight it. There we go. And I quite like now, I've noticed more people in movies that I've always watched that smoke cigars, like Hellboy, when we watched that the other day. I was like, Hellboy. He's a cigar
just
guy.
like a Hellboy, just like Arnold.
No, some people get weird about it. They're like they call them stogies, but I don't like that word. It sounds weird.
It sounds like, I don't know, like a slur or something.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Just call it a cigar. It's a cigar. It's the same amount of syllables. Don't be weird about it.
My stogie.
There you go. Look at the glow on that. And some, you can get a really big draw on them.
Mm-hmm.
I had one a few weeks ago. I had a 60 gauge Charter Oak, which is a big fat one. For people that don't know, most cigars are like 40 or 50. A 60 was a big fat one. And I cut it. It was a fresh cut. So there was loads of air coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And I got such a massive draw off it.
For yourself.
Like these are quite modest, really. But it does go well with this whiskey. So, yeah. Right. Have you gone brain fired? We have a viewer and they haven't asked us anything yet. Yes, you. I'm talking to you.
I'm not obligated to. Leave them alone.
Yeah, but I mean, why not? Say hello. Make yourself known. So I can talk. I want to know.
Don't bully the viewer.
I'm not bullying. I'm just being friendly. Trying to say, hey. I mean, I also want to know if I've set this up right so people can actually talk to us. Because it might have been me that's like fucked it up. And they're typing away. Like, why aren't you replying to me? Are you going to test it?
Yeah, I'll have a look.
Try it out. Yeah, these are nice. I'm a big fan of these. So if by some miracle Nicholas Melillo sees this video, which he might, because I probably will send it to him on Instagram, pester him a little bit, because I do follow him on that. I highly rate your cigars. Foundation cigars are very nice, and particularly the Charter Oaks are my personal favorite cigar. And I do want to talk about somebody who I don't think you like, but Tristan Tate, Andrew Tate's brother, is quite into his cigars. He's a big cigar guy and he's quite famous. But they're both very famous. And he highly praises H. Upman's as his personal favorite cigar. And I bought myself one to try it out. And I did try it and it was quite nice, but I prefer the Charter Oaks. Like, I think cigars are it's not like this is the best one and everybody agrees on it. I think it's very subjective.
Yeah, but it's just like wine or, I don't know, anything that you spend money on.
Yeah.
It's all down to taste. It's down to what you're looking for.
Because I do like Tristan. I'm a fan of Tristan. He's a funny character and I like him. I actually prefer him to Andrew. I think he's a bit more relatable to me, personality-wise. But yeah, it's I prefer these personally. I have tried the H. Upmans, they're nice, but I prefer these. And as for Cohibas, I'm not really a fan of them. But yeah, I like this. Very good. So, speaking of things from remember that, remember this, remember that. What do you remember?
What, from anything?
Yeah, from like, because we were playing, what was that game we were playing earlier? Little Nightmares. So we're playing Little Nightmares earlier. And there's a teacher in it that like runs around whacking the table with a ruler. And I was just saying, it was weird. I remember when teachers used to whack you with a ruler.
They're a bit more severe back in the day.
Yeah, but also kids were scared of teachers back then.
Well, yeah.
Now, like, did you have a teacher in school that was like the scary teacher that you didn't mess about for?
A couple of scary teachers.
Because I had two. There was one in primary school called Miss Mac, and she was a big, hefty woman, and she was terrifying. Like she would shout at you, and she would scare people into crying and stuff.
Yeah, but when you get older, you realize that kind of power. You're like, yeah. I love making people cry.
Yeah, I mean, I used to think she was horrible when I was a kid, but now I get it.
Yeah,
because I hate kids.
Yeah.
They're annoying.
Little shits.
Yeah, little bastards. And we had another teacher when I was in secondary school that was quite scary, even though he was the shortest teacher in the school. Yeah. So he was a very angry little man. I won't say his name because I can't remember it, just in case.
Find him.
Yeah, but he did not like me.
There were chances of some of the teachers that we had in school being alive now are probably slim to none. Like a lot of the teachers that I had, the older ones have all died.
Yeah. Well, he was quite young, this one. He was maybe 40 at the time. Was 20,
yeah, we'd be like 60 now.
20 years ago.
60 odd.
But did you ever have a pedo PE teacher? Did you ever have a pedo PE teacher? If you're 30 or over, you definitely did. And if you're 18, you probably have now, because it's probably a lady, because they get away with it.
I know. I didn't have any pedo teachers, but I can distinctly remember we had like a couple of gay teachers that were like, but at the time, because it was like the early 2000s, whatever, everyone, it was a bit like, oh, that teacher's a lesbian.
Yeah.
Well, but like, I mean, now
fun of it back then.
Well, it wasn't necessarily making fun of it. It was just like something that hadn't occurred in our lives before.
Yeah.
Like people that look different. Like when you were a kid, when people look different, because like these teachers, like these female teachers, were like
weird.
They didn't look weird, but they were like it was obvious that they, what team they were.
A bit of rug.
Stop it! Oh my god! Like obviously, what team they played for. But like when you're a kid, you don't really like. It's fascinating, I think, because you haven't come across it yet.
Well, there was always one gay kid in school when we were in school, right?
More than one.
Well, we had one. We had that gay kid in school, but like everyone sort of ripped on him a little bit. But he was just like, oh, it's the gay kid. Like, all right, what's going on? No one bullied him.
No, but you just ripped on him. That's
we
the same thing.
We ripped on each other, but like we took the piss out of him as well. But it was just a thing. It was just like that's what was. It was like there was a fat kid as well, and everyone took the piss out of him. But it sort of builds character.
Well, everyone's been bullied at least one point.
Yeah, well, I was short in school.
I always think everyone has been bullied, and everyone has bullied somebody at some point in their life.
Yeah.
Like whether it's like intentional or not.
Yeah, or partaked in a bit of bullying, like.
Because you band together, don't you, to not be the weird. I mean, I was a weird kid anyway, so.
Yeah, well, I was as well. I used to like throw worms on the girls and stuff like that just to freak them out, and eat dirt and stuff just to like freak people out. Be like, look at this, and all the girls would run off screaming.
You still do that now?
Yeah, that's why I'm not allowed near schools. Just stand outside the gate.
Moving swiftly on it.
Yeah, it was weird because sometimes I miss school because there was a lot about it that was good.
Oh, I know.
If I could go back and get paid, like, yeah, like if work was like school, I would go back. But work is shit.
I don't miss school because it was fucking awful that time being like a kid at that age.
Well, it wasn't nice.
Like I prefer being this age now, but being a kid, you don't have any responsibilities, and I miss that.
Yeah, I miss not having to work for things.
Yeah, not having to get up at 5:30 in the morning to go to a job that you hate.
Yeah, that is shit. But yeah, like I think everyone was bullied at some point in school.
Were.
Like I was short for all of my primary school and actually quite a lot of my secondary school. I didn't start getting tall until the last year of school, and then I was just about medium height. And then as soon as I left school, I grew about a foot. So I was like, "Oh, thanks, puberty, for being late." Because I remember on picture day, I was always the shortest out of all my year. And I hated it because I always had to stand on the end.
See, I was the tallest, so I stood at the back. Get to the back.
But I think being short when I was a kid is definitely better than being short when you're an adult.
Yeah, maybe. I think people you get like, I mean, being a short dude, like people are unkind.
Yeah.
I suppose everybody these days like, I don't want someone who's 6'2".
Oh my god! Well, I would hate to be short now.
Oh yeah.
The way girls are now, like these modern girls, these young girls are just like, I'm not even gonna look at a guy unless he's 6'4".
It doesn't mean anything though. It's fucking height.
Yeah.
I mean, look at like fucking.
Look how many famous people are short.
Look at Jamie Cullum, right? He's like 5'4". He's going out with Sophie Dahl, who's a bloody model.
Tom Cruise, Danny DeVito. I mean, you wouldn't have thought he would get a lot of hot chicks, right?
His wife's pretty banging.
Yeah, I know. But he's also very funny.
Yeah, it does help.
But you have to develop funniness if you're short.
Yeah, well, Danny DeVito's a weird-looking fellow, isn't he? He's short and weird-looking. But it works, so, you know.
Well, he played Penguin and they didn't use any prosthetics. They just woke him up and said, right.
They just rubbed him in some mud.
They just shoved him onto set.
Dipped him in
his dungarees or his long johns.
Oh,
but yeah, I think being short as a kid helped me because it
built character.
Yeah, well, I had to learn how to fight as well and fight dirty because I was fighting everyone was bigger than me. And now that I'm big, it helps because I can still fight, but I'm also big. So I don't get bullied now. But there was a time in school. Did you ever have a point in school where you were like, right, you snapped on someone and smacked someone or beat someone up?
No, because I'm a girl.
What happened to my mom? Because, I mean, she was in school way before us. She went to school in like the 70s. So it was even worse then. The teachers would beat you up then. like whack the shit out of you. Because that was when they had the cane still, and it was like allowed. Teachers were allowed to fuck you up then. So if you were in trouble in school, then you get your ass kicked, and then you get home, you get your ass kicked again by your nan. She'd get the old leather belt out and smack you around the house.
Oh, your nan did.
But oh yeah, my nan was frightening. She had a big leather belt that she hung up in the hallway, and if I was a bad kid, she would go right, and she was a big red-headed Scottish woman, and she would get out of the chair and she'd go and grab that belt off the hook and whack me across the back of the legs with it. And I would try and run up the stairs because she couldn't really get up the stairs. It was a bit of an effort. So she would give up. If I got half up the stairs, I was out of reach of the belt. But I remember one time I was a bit slow, and she whacked me across the back of the hamstrings with this belt, and I was like, ah! And I got to the top of the stairs and I just sat there for about an hour. But I think that's what kids need now. They need a good smack with a belt. They need a bit of abuse because they need to learn some manners, right?
I think kids need to be like, well, it's not about being scared. It's about being respectful.
A bit of fear is good, though.
A bit of fear is good.
Fear and respect go hand in hand. If you're scary, if you're a big, scary, tatted up dude with a massive neck, like a big bodybuilder looking dude, people are going to respect you because they're going to think, if I disrespect this guy, he might bite my head off. So fear and respect do go hand in hand.
Yeah, sort of.
But you don't necessarily have to be scary to be respected, but it does help. Because people aren't going to disrespect a big scary dude.
Well, it's first impressions, isn't it? Because like most big scary looking dudes are like the biggest puppy dogs you've ever met.
Yeah, but there's also that point where I'm always cautious if I meet someone new, like at the gym. I train at a bodybuilder's gym, and everyone there is bigger than me. I'm not small. I'm 6'1" and I'm like 85 kilos. But everyone at that gym is bigger than me. They're massive. And most of them big, dangerous-looking, tatted-up dudes with shaved heads. So you go in there and you're like, everyone's respectful to each other because at any point, something could go down.
Yeah, but I think there's like unspoken respect anyway in those kind of places.
Yeah. Well, I was sort of brought up like, just respect everyone regardless.
Well, you respect people until they give you a reason not to.
Yeah, if I meet someone new, I'm always nice to people that I've just met.
It's like anything. Like if you meet a new neighbor, if you meet a new, I don't know, work colleague, until they give you a reason. Yeah,
if you're a dick, then I'm like, right, okay, now I'm not.
But if you lead with, openness.
Yeah.
To a certain point.
To a degree, yeah. It's like that old Roadhouse line, isn't it? Be nice until it's time to not be nice. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with that. That was because you never know when someone's at breaking point.
Well,
they might not look intimidating, but they might have a gun in their pocket and there might be snaps.
And also, you never know what people are going through at the time.
Yeah, like someone might have just gone through a divorce, they might have lost a kid.
Or having a really bad day.
You piss them off at the wrong point and they just go mental and pull an assault rifle out and start blasting. So it helps to be nice to people. Because even psychopaths are nice to a degree.
Well, they present... Well, maybe they are nice.
Yeah. I've seen some mental people in my time.
Medical condition.
Like when I used to do security work, I used to be a bouncer when I was younger, and I met some crazy people, but I was nice to them, and then they liked me, so they were never really.
Well, you lead with openness, and the rest follows. And then if people give you a reason, then you can.
Yeah, but I also meet most people that I meet that are deserving of respect are older because they were brought up a little better. Most young people I meet, I don't like because they're disrespectful.
Like the younger people that have met that, like the people that you meet, like, strangers basically. Like in my job, sometimes you have to work with randoms that you don't
Yeah.
know. And most of the time, the younger ones, they're always a bit arrogant, like, you know.
Well, there's an arrogance that comes with people that have not got their ass kicked yet or not been punched square in the mouth.
Yeah.
Because when you get punched in the nose for the first time hard or sat on your ass
Well,
from a
sometimes
punch,
it's a lesson that you need. Well, it's
Yeah.
a lesson that some people need.
well, I think everyone, even nice people, should get punched at some point in their life just so they know the consequences of being rude or disrespectful. Because a lot of people go, especially now the way the internet is, like on Instagram, for example, I follow a lot of fitness people on Instagram, and all I ever see in the comments is disrespectful shit.
Yeah, but that's different because you don't, like, people would never say that to, well, there's a very small amount of people that would say things like that to people's faces.
Yeah, people that have never been punched.
But there's like there's an invisible wall in between.
Yeah.
You know, you and the person they're having a go at.
Yeah,
but
like if Francis Ngannou's talking shit to me on YouTube, I'm gonna be like, fuck off. But if he said it to my face, I probably wouldn't. Because there's a chance that he might take my head off. And people don't realise that.
Yeah, but there's kind of, again, it's like you give someone a reason to take your head off, then you deserve it.
Yeah.
If you don't give someone a
I
reason.
mean, you can argue with people and not be a dick about it. Which I do a lot, but sometimes people deserve me to be a dick to them. Because I try and be nice to people, but I'm quite picky about who I get on with. I get irritated very easily, is one way of putting it. Like, I used to have a group of friends when I was like 18, well, maybe 17. And now, I wouldn't, there's no chance in hell I'd hang about with any of them.
Yeah, but you grow up and your preferences change, and
yeah,
you realize that, like, because most of the time, I mean, I don't care what anyone says, even like the loner kids, they just want to fit in. Everyone wants, it's like, it's pack mentality, isn't it? Like, you want to, you know, be in the herd.
Well, I tend to gravitate towards like other loners, like other loner people, because I'm like, oh well, I'm like that, so maybe we can connect on something. Like, there was a new guy that started at work last week, and no one was really talking to him, and we were training, and I was talking, and he just happened to be running next to me, so I started talking to him, and after, like, we were running for like 2 hours, so after 10-15 minutes of talking to him, I was like, oh, this kid seems all right. He was only 18, so I'm 13 years older than him, so almost old enough to be his dad. But he seemed all right, and no one else was really talking to him, and he was asking me advice and stuff, and I was trying to sort of give the sort of advice that I would want to hear when I was that age.
Yeah, that's because you're older and wiser.
Yeah.
Because that's all everyone ever wants to, you know, like, to help people.
Yeah, well, some people just don't want to help anyone ever.
Well, some people are beyond, those kind of people are beyond help anyway, and they're not worth fucking with.
Yeah.
So.
They're the sort of people that will feed you false information to make life harder for you.
Yeah, but you just ignore them.
Yeah.
And they'll go away eventually.
But if you're nicer to people and then you ever get in trouble, those are the people that'll have you back.
Well, that's the respect thing, isn't it? But that's because you put the effort into making the respect happen. Well, you don't just expect it, you put effort in. Like you say, you know, you shouldn't just expect respect from anybody, but like, it's all earned.
Yeah, like, exactly, yeah. But there's a few people that I've worked with that I would genuinely trust to go into like a fight to the death with, like Big Gordon, for example.
Yeah.
Like, there's some people there that if you were out, say you were out on a night out, and you got jumped or you got robbed or something, some people would run and leave you to get shot or stabbed or bummed or whatever. And then there's other people that would, even if you're outnumbered 2-1, they would still pile in there and start throwing hands. And I tend to like to associate with people like that. I've got friends that aren't like that. They're just pacifists, like Martin, for example.
Yeah.
And if he sees this, like, don't take it the wrong way, Martin, but if there's a fight, I tend to assume you're going to stand to one side.
Yeah, but some people aren't fighters.
And let me deal with it.
And that's okay. Like, some people aren't meant to be fighters. Yeah, but they fight in different ways. No, okay. Some people like physical fighters, but, you know, people fight in different ways. Like,
yeah, but also some people have, like, your childhood affects it a lot. I think the way my childhood made me more of a fighter, but his didn't, made him like want to avoid it.
Some people.
Oh, is someone talking to us? What drink are you? What's that, Sarah?
Pairing with your cigar.
We have a beautiful whiskey, Sexton Irish single malt whiskey. There's the bottle. If you're interested, it's nice, and it's on Amazon for about 25 quid, 30 quid. It's on sale at the minute, so I would recommend it.
It's always on sale on Amazon.
Yeah, well, Amazon has a good way of putting things on sale just after you bought it at full price.
Yeah, well, they like, you want it again? Yeah,
because I bought that for 35 quid and then it went on sale. And I was like, thanks, Amazon. You crafty bugger.
They're like, what again?
Yeah, and what are you drinking?
I was drinking Captain Morgan.
Do you want to refill it?
Yeah.
If you can fandangle your way around the table without destroying the tree. And if anyone can see, the tree has Bruce Willis in it. There, if you zoom in, is a tiny Bruce Willis in a ventilation shaft, which was created by Charlotte, which I love, by the way. It's very funny. Because I saw a little picture of Bruce Willis and I was like, why have you got a picture of Bruce Willis on a piece of paper crawling through a vent? And then when you explained it to me, I was like, oh, actually, that's a really good idea. So Bruce is guarding the tree from any terrorists that might be, German terrorists that might be attacking the building. And the cigar, by the way, if you're curious, is the Charter Oak Pascal by Foundation Cigars, which I believe are available on Neptune Cigars for worldwide shipping. We're in the UK and they're based in America and they shipped it to us. So very nice cigar. But like I was saying before about people who are light.
What? Oh, safe. It's an LED light. It's not going to.
About people who are. Some people are pacifists. They might be really loyal friends, but if there's a fight, they'd be very hesitant to jump in and start throwing hands with people. But you need some friends like that. You need some friends that are pacifists as well, because sometimes you just want to chill out.
Yeah, well, sometimes life isn't always about fighting everybody.
Well, no, but it helps to know.
Well, it does. I don't know. I don't disagree with that, but
yeah, but I think that's something that's probably a little bit down to why people are so disrespectful now. I'm just going to refill my whiskey, by the way. I'm running low, so I'm going to pop. Your favourite noise?
Oh, that's good.
It does help, especially as a man, to know how to fight. But anyone, I mean, I'd recommend anyone to learn something, even just for a bit.
I think that like kids should be taught, a little bit of self-defense. Like, especially these days. It seems like everything's gone mad these days. Like kids getting attacked and stuff. And
yeah, well, there was that kid that got stabbed recently on the bus.
You know, a little bit, but like also I think it comes down to like fucking keeping your eyes open. Like I don't think people are taught to keep their eyes open.
Some people are so unaware of danger, it infuriates me, genuinely. I see people walking down the street with headphones on and they're on their phone and they're not looking at anything around them, and someone could just walk up and whack you in the side of the head and rob your headphones.
Yeah.
And it really irritates me.
It's definitely a problem these days, I think.
Yeah, but the world seems to be getting more violent and more negative. 99% of the comments I see on Instagram are negative comments.
I don't know whether that's just like because everything is so shared these days. Like you see it more.
I don't know. It didn't seem that way a few years ago, though. It's definitely sort of gradually getting worse.
I think there's just no repercussions for bad behavior.
Yeah, but also it's easy to be mean to people online.
Oh yeah,
because you get instant gratification, like like, do you know what I mean? They're the sort of people that are like, I'm going to talk shit about this fitness person and be like, no matter what they're lifting or how good their body is, someone will be like, oh, that's just steroids.
Yeah, but that's the same with everybody. Like, I mean, the most beautiful women in the world will get shit comments.
Yeah,
mostly
from women.
But most of the time, it's just down to jealousy. Like,
yeah, exactly. Most females that are like into fitness or attractive looking. I mean, for example, like Cyborg. If you watch UFC, you know Chris Cyborg, you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
She gets so much shit online. I'm surprised she even still has an Instagram account.
Yeah, but you have to have like, I think sometimes when you're online, if I had like an online presence, I wouldn't read comments. Like,
oh yeah, you can't.
Because it was just, you know, it depressed you the whole time.
I say that actually, my YouTube channel has actually got vast majority of positive comments. So fair play to anyone on my channel. All my subscribers are very nice. My bird video, that has 57 or 58,000 views now, has hundreds of nice comments on it and like one negative comment.
That's the kind of video. It's like, I don't know, it's hard to shit talk you taking care of a, you know, bird.
Oh, people could find anything to say bad.
I know. But also, I think it's about having that, like, my armor has always been like, if I don't know you and I don't care what your opinion is, I don't give a shit what you have to say. So you can say the most horrible thing to me in the world, but yeah, it might bother me a little bit, but I'm gonna go to bed and then I will be like, fuck that person.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're not paying my bills. So
yeah. Well, I try and comment. I mean, I don't say mean things, but I say things that get me in trouble online.
Yeah, but people don't like the truth.
Yeah, I only comment on dumb shit. Like the dumb shit I see on Instagram is the reason I got banned from Instagram. But I get, it's annoying because you get no credit for your nice comments.
No, I know. Yeah, but that's the thing though, isn't it? Like, I've always said that, like, I could be the meanest, horriblest cow every day, all day, because it's the most horrible things to people.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't, because that's not who you are.
Yeah.
But the energy sometimes it takes to be nice instead of being mean. You don't get the credit for it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't. But I mean, that's the thing now. Like, famous people, influencers, as they're called, people online, YouTubers and influencers and stuff like that. The dickhead ones get way more popular way quicker than the nice ones.
Yeah, well, everyone loves a car crash.
Yeah,
like, I mean, people love to watch a car crash.
There's that guy. I'm not going to name his name because I think he's a little waste of space wanker, to be honest. But there's a guy who turns up to all the UFC press conferences, and he was at the Jake Paul-Nate Diaz fight, and he's a skinny little runt. He's clearly never worked for anything in his life, and he was talking shit to pro UFC fighters.
Yeah, People think they've got this armor on them. Like, oh, then I'm not gonna get like shit talk.
If you got Nate Diaz on the stage 50 feet from you and you're calling them a bitch and saying, "Oh, I'd kick your ass," but you're never gonna fight him, you're a little bitch.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like that guy, I would love to fight that guy.
But people love watching. It's like it's like stupid people that are famous. It's because people, for some reason, find them bloody endearing.
Well, there's people I don't like, but I'm well aware that, like UFC fighters that I don't like, I'm well aware they would kick my ass in a fight.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Like, regardless of whether someone can kick your ass or not, you can still dislike them.
I can still call them a prick, but I'm not going to call them a pussy because they would fucking kick my ass.
But that's the difference between like not enjoying their personality, but respecting the like position and craft.
Yeah, well, if I met them, like for example, I'm trying to think of someone I don't like in the UFC. I'm not a fan of Conor McGregor, to be honest. I think he's a twat. And if I met him, I'm not going to call him a pussy or anything to his face because we're probably going to end up fighting and I'm not going to win that fight because he'd kick my ass probably anyway. But also he has bodyguards that would also kick my ass. But I would be honest with him and say, like, I don't agree with this, and this. Like, I think you're a twat for taking cocaine and stuff like that.
But I think, like, this is like something that's missing, like, in conversation these days, is that you can disagree with somebody, but you can still like them. Or you can still, like, I always say, right, like, you can be the biggest arsehole, but as long as you're good at your job, fuck it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well, the thing with, on the subject of McGregor, because he is a big talking point right now because of all the stuff going on in Ireland, I used to actually be a fan of him. Until he won the title. I was supporting him. I was all for it. I was like, yeah, we're going to have the first Irish champion. Yeah, it's going to be great. He's quite funny and quirky. But as soon as he won the title, he became an arrogant dick. And he became... What pisses me off is I've fought MMA before. I've had fights and I've had wins and I've had losses. And when you lose, you've got to be humble with it. You've got to be like, yeah, he was the better fighter. I'm going to train harder and try and win next time.
Man. Like, I mean, unless it's a complete, like, absolute... Because sometimes there are losses that are like...
Yeah.
But it's few and far between.
But, I mean, him versus Khabib, he got mauled. He got beat the fuck up. Yeah. And he's in total denial about that fight. He's like, yeah, Khabib's scared of me. I won that fight. And I'm just like, dude, you just didn't. You just got your ass kicked for 3 rounds and then you got choked out. Like, at least own that and be like, all right, sorry.
But that's delusion. That's like, there's something...
That's cocaine.
There's something, like, not quite going on, like, clicking in your head, right?
It's cocaine. It's too much cocaine, probably. And the way he was disrespectful about his family, I didn't like either, because I don't like that shit. Like, if you want to slag someone off and call them a pussy or a bitch or whatever, go ahead, knock yourself out. But when you start bringing people's wife and kids into it... Yeah. You're just a prick.
He disrespects his own family as well, so...
Well, yeah, but, I mean...
That's by the way.
Yeah. But there's a lot of UFC fighters that I've met that are so down to earth, like Bisping. We've both met Bisping, right? What's Bisping like? What was your opinion of him?
Yeah, but, like, I think as well, but if you'd have met him when he was younger, you probably wouldn't have liked him.
I think Bisping... in his 20s, I wouldn't have got on with. And I actually, at one point, I thought he was a bit of a cocky prick.
Yeah, well.
But then I liked him because he was winning his fights.
Mm-hmm. This is what I'm saying, though. You can be, like, a dickhead, but as long as you're, like, you know, winning your shit. That's the difference between, like, Conor McGregor. He's a dickhead, but he doesn't win anything. And he thinks, you know,
but
no respect.
It's weird because there's some fighters that I used to like until I found out what their personality was really like, and now I don't like them. And then Tyson Fury is a good example. I used to hate Tyson Fury.
Yeah, but he's a cocky little bastard, of course. Yeah, but cocky big bastard.
I used to be a Klitschko fan, Vladimir Klitschko. When I was younger, I used to watch a lot of Klitschko's fights. And when him and Fury was announced, from what I'd seen of them both, I thought Klitschko's going to win and Fury's cocky and he's going to lose. But after he won, I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong. And then I started watching more of his fights, and I think it's the fact that he dropped off and went completely downhill and then managed to get back to the top again that made me gain a lot of respect for him. But also I met him in person, and he's a super nice guy. So I think...
Yeah, but most of it isn't like, it's all an act anyway. Like, I mean, everybody that's on telly or a personality or even on YouTube, it's all like, you don't see the real person.
Yeah, well...
Like 100% anyway.
I mean, I met Fury in person. I really liked him. I met Eddie Hall in person. I liked him. There's some people that I genuinely think if I met them in person, I would hate them. But just as an example, someone that I don't like Jake Paul, I think he's a prick. And he's delusional. But I'll give him credit. He does get in there and fight. There's a lot of YouTubers that talk a lot of shit and they don't get in there and fight. At least he's getting in there and fighting. So I'll give him credit for that. And he's training. But I've just got a feeling if I met him in person, I wouldn't like him.
Oh, yeah.
But I would still give him a chance. I wouldn't just approach him and be like, you're a prick. I'd at least give him a chance. And then maybe in person, maybe I'd like him. I don't know. Maybe off camera, he's likable. Like Colby Covington.
Yeah, but that's an act. It's all an act.
Yeah, but Colby on camera he's the villain.
But
he
it's
portrays the villain. Yeah, but in person, I've seen people like sneakily taking footage of him where he's talking to fans, and he is a really nice guy. I actually like Colby, but it's weird because some people are like the total opposite.
Yeah,
like they're nice in person, but they're a prick on camera and on TV and on as part of their character.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of TV personalities that like have to be nice on telly, don't they?
But I think with fighters, I respect fighters a lot more anyway because I know how hard it is.
Well, any sports person, I think, like any good sports person.
Yeah, but fighters in particular, especially Michael Bisping, because he lost an eye to the sport and he took a world title fight on 2 weeks' notice and went in there and won it with one fucking eye. Like, if you don't respect that man, you're a prick. And I've met him 3 times, and he's fucking great, isn't he?
Yeah, it's very lovely.
Like when you met him, you got a bit emotional, didn't you? And he got up and come around and give you a hug. He was like, "Oh, don't cry. I feel bad now." So next time, like pretend to cry.
I know you'll get a hug.
You'll get a hug.
That's those feminine wiles.
And I met Tyson Fury once, briefly, not as long as Bisping. I did spend the day with Bisping at one point. But when I met Fury, I went and shook his hand and I was like, "Oh, you're right, big man. How you doing?" And he was like, and I went, "Why, what's up?" And he said, "I don't really like crowds and stuff. Like, I hate all this.
Yeah.
But I just do it because
you gotta." And
I was like, yeah, I kind of get that. Like, I made him more relatable because I'm like that. I hate crowds and stuff, but it's part of his job, isn't it? So I respected him more for being more genuine. And I mean, Eddie Hall was a super nice guy when I met him as well. Like, I went to an event, it was a book signing just after he lifted the 500. And I think it was when he'd been announced that he'd won World's Strongest Man, but it hadn't been broadcast yet. And I took my deadlifting belt in a shopping bag. And my dad was like, "See if you can get him to sign it." It did say they were there, there was security there. They were like, "He's only signing books, so don't bring any shit." And I had it under the table. And I just leaned in. I sat next to him and shook his hand and stuff. And I spent about a minute with him at the most. But I leaned in and I was like, "Eddie, you couldn't sign my deadlifting belt for me, could you?" And he was like, "Yeah, no problem. Where is it?" And I went, "Oh, it's in here." And he went, "Anyone got a pen?" And he was like, "Someone get me a pen." He got a Sharpie and he took it. And there was a photo of me. sat next to him watching him while he's signing my belt, and I still wear that every time I deadlift, and that meant quite a lot to me. Whereas if he'd have been like, nah, we're not supposed to, but he's just a normal dude, that's what I'd have done. I'd have been like, yeah, go on, fucking hurry up, give it here, sign it. And Bisping was the same, but I didn't even ask Bisping for a signature. He was like, do you want me to sign that? And I went, I mean, yeah. Because I bought his UFC jersey when he won the title. As soon as he won the title, the UFC uploaded it on the website, and I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was £80, really fucking expensive for me at the time, because I was working like a minimum wage job and I wasn't making a lot of money. And then I got a chance to go and meet him, and I thought, well, I've got to wear the Bisping shirt. So I got a photo with him, and I went, oh, Mike, by the way, I've got your shirt, and it said Bisping on the back. And he went, oh, wicked. And he was like, do you want me to sign it? And I was just like, yeah.
Please.
But now I feel like if I meet him, I'll be like, all right, Mike, what's going on? How's your old man? Stuff like that, because I've met him so many times. I feel like I can be mates with him. And you can be like, remember me? Can I have another hug?
They don't remember any, like,
They
meet so many people.
Yeah, but I did say to him, like, UFC Nottingham, you signed my shirt, and he was like, oh, yeah. He might have been bullshitting. He might have just been like, yeah, I remember the event, but I don't remember you. But I was definitely...
I wouldn't expect anybody to remember.
Because I told him to punch my mate, and just before I took a photo of them together, and he digged him in the arm. So there's a photo of him like, and Bisping going, That was quite funny. But yeah, there's a few people though that I'm like, I can't. They say you shouldn't meet your heroes. Arnie's one, and I've kind of remember last time we went to go and see him, and he didn't fucking turn up.
Yeah, but he did that every single time. Like
that, I know it wasn't his fault. It was his management and all that, but that kind of made me think.
I don't know. I think sometimes it's probably best not to meet people that you really idolize.
Well,
because you have this idea of...
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe sometimes it's good to find out that, like, if they are a dick. Sometimes they're nice, but if they are a dick, sometimes it's better to know, because then it's a learning experience.
I mean, I think it's like different when you meet people like organically to like those kind of convention events where they're there to meet people. Like they're there because they're getting paid to be there.
Yeah.
And then, like,
I met John Fury at a fucking petrol station. I was like, is that John Fury? Because I was like, that dude's fucking massive. He was in the queue in front of me. I was like, is that John Fury? And then I was like, fuck it, I'll speak to him. I was like, all right, John. And he was all right. Like, he could have been like, fuck off. But again, he's just a normal dude. He's just like my dad. I reckon they would get on pretty well. Probably get on well, have a fight, and then have a pint together. But he's another one. He's such a mad character. Some people don't like it. But
yeah,
I
but
love
he's
that.
Provocative, isn't he? Like, he likes to poke at people.
Yeah, but that's just who he is.
But some people don't like that.
Yeah. Like the
some
KSI fight.
Some people can see under it and see that it's just like an act, and it's for show. Yeah, and it's just to be provocative. Like, it's just to provoke a reaction out of people.
I think he plays it up for the cameras, but he is genuinely like that. He is just a mad bastard, and I mean that in like a good way. So John, if you're watching, he's like, you just call me a mad bastard, I'll punch your fucking head in. No, I mean that in a good way. But I think it's as well, like, see a lot of people disrespecting people like him and Tyson. I mean, that True Geordie thing. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, but people like to talk a lot of shit. Like, and like, say, let people talk shit, because talking of shit, someone's gonna have a problem with it eventually.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could be the nicest person in the world. You're still going to have haters online. I mean, look at. I'm trying to think of someone. I mean, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
He just got harassed recently in some shopping centre, was it?
Is it? I don't know. I didn't see.
He was just dossing about the shopping centre like we all do. And he was getting harassed by some, I don't even know if it was some YouTubers or just some dickheads. And it was on video, and he was like, can you leave me alone? I'm trying to just fucking, I've signed a thing for you. Just stop bothering me.
Yeah.
And he is the nicest dude. And if people are pissing him off, like, what hope have we got? It's struggling a bit now. This might need relighting. But I mean, there's some people as well, like you say, you don't meet your heroes and stuff like that. But I've met a few. And for example, like Michael Bisping, world champion UFC fighter. But I met him and I wasn't like, I didn't have that starstruck thing.
Yeah.
I know you did a little bit. But I didn't have it so much because I met him in the gym and we were just chatting.
Yeah, but it was a different kind of event. It was an event for like for that purpose. So.
But when I met Randy Couture, I'd never been like starstruck. I met Eddie Hall, Tyson Fury, Michael Bisping, Mark Coleman, loads of UFC champions. But Randy Couture, I did turn into a retard, didn't I?
Indeed.
I was like, hey, Randy. I didn't want to say I'm a big fan because that makes me seem like a mentalist. Which I am, but I don't want him to know that. But yeah, when I met Randy, I was like, I started going like, like I turned into a kid. I didn't know what to say. But I think a part of that is because I think I connected with Bisping, Eddie, and Fury more because they're British.
Well, I mean, not only that, like I think just because I don't know, they got that sense of humor, haven't they? Like the British.
Oh, we got this somewhere else.
British sense of humor.
Thompson's Fiddle Tracker. Oh, wonder who that is. You know who that is? Someone down the road on my computer. Yeah, Mr. Maskmaker, how's your head from sparring? I've got a little mark. You want to work on your cardio instead of typing on YouTube? I'll punch your heat in, big man. But yeah, I was when I saw Randy Couture was a little bit starstruck. I was like, because I think it's because I was watching him from a younger age. Like he was the man. He was Captain America of the UFC, and he's such a nice guy. And I know they all are really, but Randy's like next level nice, isn't he?
Yeah.
He was just smiling, and he was just like, "Hey man," he shook my hand and everything, and then there's other people like Tito. Now I did like Tito. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking shit about Tito Ortiz. Tito, you're a world champion, and I like you, but he says some dumb shit sometimes. Some
people were born to talk, and others were not.
Yeah, he's not so much a wordsmith as he is like he's not as good with his words as he is with his fighting skills. No. But I do like Tito.
Everyone loves a try, though, right?
Yeah, genuinely, like Tito. I met him in person, and I don't want to say it 'cause it sounds bad, but we were at a UFC event, and there was a bunch of world champions, and there was no one at his. There was no one there to see Tito, and I felt bad because I do like Tito. I mean, I used to be a big fan of him when I was younger, and then obviously when he retired and sort of went into Bellator and stuff, I stopped watching him so much. But I do like Tito, so I was like, should go and talk to Tito because I feel bad. And I stood there chatting to him, and he is a super nice dude. Like, I genuinely like Tito, but he definitely needs to hire like Chael Sonnen to give him some trash talk lessons. But I would like to see Tito do well. I like him. And I would also like to meet him again. And Mark Coleman is another one. I mean, Mark Coleman's a fucking legend. And I'm going to send this video to him on Instagram because we do talk on Instagram sometimes. There's that photo that you took of me.
Oh, yeah.
Me, Mark, and Bisping. It was at a UFC event. Mark Coleman handed me his phone and was like, "Here, take a photo of me and Bisping." And I was just like, all right. So I took a photo, and you got one of me taking a photo of Mark Coleman with Bisping like this.
No one would believe it.
He's such a character, though, isn't he? But again, he's been through so much shit. I don't think a lot of people realise. Like, he lost custody to his kids. He was an alcoholic. He was depressed and went completely off the rails. And he was a world champion. It's like the same with Tyson Fury. But he's reached his late 50s and decided to get his fitness in order, get his life together, and he's made a complete turnaround. But what pisses me off, again, is people talk so much shit about him.
Oh, people talk shit about everything.
Like, I spoke to Mark quite a lot in the summer about his fitness progress. And I was going back and forth with him for a while on Instagram. And he put out a video at one point where he was like, "I'm quitting," because he was going to make a comeback. He was going to fight again. And I said to him, he wanted to fight Conor McGregor or someone like half his age. And I was like, I sent him a message and I went, "Mark, not being funny, but if you want to fight, my dad wants to fight. You're the same age as my dad. You're roughly the same build. Let's make it happen. Like, you get to fight someone your own age. And I think it would be a good fight, genuinely." And he was like, he was pretty cool about it. But he said he wanted a big money fight. He was just doing it for the money and a bit of hype.
Everyone is at that age.
But I was like, I mean, fair fucking play to him. 58-year-old man offering out like UFC fighters that are pretty much in their prime. And he was offering out Mike Tyson, but there was so many people being negative about him. It really pissed me off because I was just worried that he would take it to heart and it would bother him. And then he put that video out. He did put a video out where he was saying, "I'm done. I'm going to quit. Maybe all the haters are right. Maybe I'm just a fat old man. I'm slow and I'm not going to win." And I sent him a message giving him a bit of shit. I was like, "Don't you fucking dare quit or I'm going to fight you myself." And then he went, "No, I was just kidding. I was just saying that just to like piss the haters off." So I was like, "All right, cool." And then he got banned from Instagram. But so did I.
It's not that.
Yeah.
Or like it's hard.
Yeah, you get banned for fucking anything now. I commented the weakest insults and I still got banned for it.
Yeah, but it's the content of those insults.
Yeah. I think I commented on there was some influencer that was just being very critical about men's appearances. And all I said was, "How much do you weigh?" And I got banned for bullying. And like, she didn't post how much she weighed, but I'm guessing it was quite a lot more than me. And the fact that people report stuff like that, like, you can give it out. You can give bullying like what's the name for it when people are like body shaming? You can body shame men, but when they give it back, they're like, "Oh, I'll call the police."
Yeah, well, that's just the age we live in now. People are
Like bullying
desensitive.
short guys. Like if you're under 6 foot, you should kill yourself. Like that's fucking. Imagine that if guys started saying, like, if Andrew Tate said, girls over a certain weight should kill themselves. Imagine what a piece of shit people would call him.
Well, I do anyway.
Some people do. But that's just people that don't. They see what the media that don't like him portray. He is a nice guy, from what I've seen. But again, if I met him, I might think differently. Because people are always different in person. But from what I've seen, he's another good example. When I first discovered Andrew Tate, I didn't like him. I thought, oh, he's just a rich dickhead who's cocky. But I did a bit of research and I found out he was a former kickboxing world champion. So I was like, oh, right, okay, so he's a former world champion. So I gained a bit of respect from there. And then I found out some of what he was doing for charity and stuff like that, him and his brother. So I actually liked him a bit more. I don't agree with everything he says, but a lot of stuff he says is in like satirical as well. And a lot of it is taken out of context. And you can take any, I mean, look at Ricky Gervais recently. He's always getting in trouble for things being taken out of context, isn't he? Would you call yourself a bad boy? Who's that? Or a bad girl? Is that for... No, maybe, sometimes. Are we glitching out? I can be. It depends on how much coffee I've had. Depends what you mean by a bad boy or bad girl. Would you consider yourself a bad girl? Do you mean bad like as in a criminal? Or just a little bit naughty?
Or a big gypsy.
Racist. I'll report you. I'll report you to the gypsy police.
I don't have an online presence, so freaking crack on.
I don't know. I don't think I would, no. Well, I don't get in trouble much, so. Do you?
Never. I've got a clean sheet.
Sure about that, big man?
Yeah.
You do road rage quite a lot, though.
Yeah, well, no, I've never ever spoken to a police officer. No, I've never been pulled over.
I have. But always innocent. I've been pulled over a few times. But it's because I'm working class and drive a nice car. So, and the police don't like that. They don't like people that are better than they are. No offense, but a lot of offense intended in that situation. Yeah, I've not had good experiences with police.
Well, I have to speak to them from a different side. So.
Yeah.
And they always seem incompetent. Well, the ones I've spoken to anyway.
I'm not going to say they're shit at their job.
Not all police officers I've ever come into contact with. I've come into contact with quite a few over the years.
I've met a few that are good. I will say that. But all of them should be good because it's a very important job. And I don't want to sound negative, but their training is shocking. Like dog shit. Not just physical training, as in like being able to defend yourself, which a lot of them can't. From what I've seen, not saying from what I've seen online, I did work in security for 7 years, and there was a few there was a handful of times when police were needed and they made things worse. Like, turned up and made things worse. They actually escalated heated verbal arguments into violence.
Well, that's the type of people they recruit now. Like, they recruit everybody, so...
And not to sound sexist or anything, but the female police officers that I've dealt with, they genuinely, not all of them, because again, I've met a few that are good at their job and they're nice. Some of the ones from Leamington, but some are so shit at their job. If I wasn't so patient and knew that I could get in trouble if I acted a certain way, they could have caused a lot of trouble for themselves. Because I was pulled over about a year ago. Hadn't done anything wrong at all, but I got accused of doing this, that, and everything under the sun. And they breathalyzed me and everything, and I was fine. But then they still kept pressing me. And it was a female. I don't know her name or anything because they refused to give me their name, which is also unprofessional.
Well, they should give you a colour if you request.
Yeah. But she was like trying to escalate things, and I was trying to de-escalate things. And obviously, because I've worked in security, I'm quite good at that. But if I'd have escalated as well, it would have ended in someone getting hurt. And based off the training that they do, it wouldn't have been me. But yeah, it's a shame because it would be nice if all the police were good at their job, the world would be a much better place. But I think some of them go into the job with good intentions, which is why I would never do it, because you can't. Sometimes you have to let people get away with stuff because your hands are tied by the paperwork.
Well, a lot of the times people get away with, like, even people that get sent to prison don't do a lot of time for what they've done. So
yeah, well,
it all seems a bit pointless, really. And then
I mean, I had someone sucker punch me in front of the police while I was talking to them, and then I hit the guy back, and then they were having a go at me. I was like, I just got assaulted.
Yeah.
Like, you should have been on that guy and put him in cuffs. And instead you're worried about me because I defended myself. And anyway, I could go on a rant for another hour about things that have been involved with people being shit at their job.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, on to more positive things. Like this cigar, for example, which I'm almost done with. How are yours?
Yeah, standard. I've only got cigarillos, so.
What make are they for anyone watching who's interested and wants to try?
Gas from Cuba.
Oh, they're Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, these are from Nicaragua. The Nicaraguan blend. The company is from Connecticut, but the filler and the wrapper is Nicaraguan, which is probably my favorite cigar. Some Cubans are nice. I have tried a few Cubans, and they're nice. I haven't tried those.
I mean, feel free. There's plenty.
But the Nicaraguan blends, I'm a fan of. But again, some people swear by Cubans. They're like, I'll only smoke Cubans.
Yeah, but is it like the people that only drink French wine?
Yeah.
You know, like it's the same kind of thing. I think there's an element of snobbery in it. And people think that if they say one thing, they sound more.
We were talking about this with watches, weren't we? Like, some people are like, Rolex. It's only a nice watch if it's a Rolex.
There's loads of nice watch brands out there, you know.
I prefer Omega. Personally, I wouldn't have a Rolex. I'd have an Omega, and I wouldn't smoke a Cohiba. I'd smoke a cheaper, nicer cigar.
But it doesn't. I think the point is, it doesn't matter like how much it costs. If you like it, then fuck it.
But some people don't.
But that's the snobbery, though.
Yeah, they pretend
They
to
pretend to
like
like it.
the snobby thing
Yeah.
because they think it makes them
It's
sound
sound-
sophisticated.
Yeah.
Like,
But people do it all the time.
of course I read Shakespeare. I'm like, no, you fucking don't. Who are you lying to?
No one reads it.
Yeah. My favourite watch is
Yeah, but
Rolex.
it's like people that, people are snobby about films, they're snobby about books, they're snobby about food.
Like when people say, "Oh, The Godfather's the greatest movie of all time," like, is it though? Like, I'm not being funny. If that's your opinion, fine. But I've seen it, and I can name 20 films that I think are better.
But everything's opinion, though. Like every single thing, it's all down to opinion.
Yeah.
Like it's someone's opinion that Rolex is the best watch company. It's not like.
Yeah.
It's not like written down, is it? Like you can't measure it.
Yeah.
You can't measure like if a clothing company is better than someone else.
I mean, if they took a poll on like.
Yeah, but that's opinion again.
Yeah, but it would still vastly vary. There'd be some people that say a £10 Casio from Amazon's the best watch because it's cheap and easy.
Opinions and facts are two different things.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on your miniature cigars?
They are miniature cigars. That's all I have to say on the matter.
Very insightful. There you go. That's a review for you.
I don't really care. I bought them.
Taste strong, mild.
Oh, they're mild.
Are they?
Yeah.
That's
the review. They smoke, and that's about it.
Okay, then that's that one done.
And I can't tell you who the company is.
Yeah. Because you don't give a shit.
I do not give a shit.
No effort.
No effort.
No effort for the first episode of the Cigar Hour or Whiskey Hour. Sorry.
We're choosing two things that I don't smoke. So.
Yeah. Well, what about the drink?
Well, it's Captain Morgan's. It's hardly, high. Well, it's Captain Morgan's a great rum of all the rums in the world.
It's my personal favourite, but I've only tried 2 or 3 rums.
My personal favourite is Kraken.
Kraken's nice, but Captain Morgan's my go-to.
I prefer darker rum than spiced, but
yeah, I quite like the spiced. It goes well with a ginger ale.
I like a nice dark rum. I like drinks that stain.
Yeah, you like a drink that if you spill it on the carpet, it's ruined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the danger. I like to live on the edge.
Yeah, that's why I don't drink red wine anymore, because I went to a New Year's Eve party, and when I was taking my cowboy boots off, I kicked over a bottle of wine and ruined the white carpet.
Yeah, well,
and ruined the night for everybody. Everybody was upset except me, because I didn't put the bottle there, so it's not my problem.
Not your carpet, not your problem.
Yep. But I did wear cowboy boots that were way too tight, so when I was getting them off, I did fall over and knock a bottle of wine over.
So that is your fault.
A little bit, but also if the wine was on a table where it belongs, it wouldn't have happened. And if said carpet owner had got a proper colour carpet, like dark brown or black, then it wouldn't have stained the fucking carpet. It's one of them where people like put something in a stupid place and then get annoyed when someone knocks it over. Like, oh, you spilled coffee on the floor. Well, you put your cup in the middle of the doorway on the floor. It doesn't live on the floor. It lives on the coffee table. So shut up. Well, you park your car in a stupid place.
And they get scratched.
Yeah. And then, like, oh, you scratched my car. Well, you parked in the middle of the fucking road. So.
Shut up.
Yes. Use common sense. That's the theme of the Whiskey Hour. Common sense prevails.
Well, not a lot of people have it, but
yeah, and base your choices of things you like, whether it be cigars, whiskies, rums, watches, cars, women, or men, if you're a gear,
and everything in between.
Everything, cheese.
Like,
I quite like Cheshire. Not a lot of, most people hate it because it's crumbly.
Yeah.
But I love it.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Some people are like, well, it's got to be strong cheese or mouldy cheese or expensive cheese. No. If you like something, it's a little bit weird. then just be honest about it, because people will respect you more.
Nobody really cares in the end.
Like Christmas trees, like somebody said to me today, why is there no red on your Christmas tree? I said, because I don't want red on the Christmas tree. Everybody has red on the Christmas tree. Everyone has a red and green tree.
We've got black tree.
Black and silver.
Black and silver.
Matches the room. And me, because everything I wear is black and silver. I've got a silver watch and I wear black clothes. And my car's black and silver.
There's what's red on
the
ghost.
Bruce Willis's face. He's got blood on his face.
Red on him.
You got red on you, mate. I wish I could do that voice more and not freak people out. Hey, mate. Because I'll do it sometimes to people that I've just met.
And they think you're northern.
And they think I'm from Yorkshire or something. But it's a funny voice to do. It's when you're annoyed as well.
Oh, fuck off, mate.
Like, mate, fuck off. I fucking love the rain. Like when you have to go out and stand in the rain.
Mm.
And I use that saying quite a lot. I fucking love insert shit
Something,
thing.
yeah.
I fucking love getting covered in piss.
I fucking love being stuck in traffic.
Yeah, I fucking love bad weather. I fucking love waiting behind slow people in the queue at Tesco's. Yeah.
It's the passive aggressiveness that gets you through life.
I love passive aggressive and sarcastic and loudly, obnoxiously sarcastic.
God, that's all right.
It's all right. I'll just go fuck myself, shall I? I'll wait in the queue all day, and then
after you.
And then when someone in the queue turns around and looks at me, I'm like, "Oh, you realise now that you're annoying everyone."
Oh, do you remember that guy that we were going to
short
CX? And I was like, oh, excuse you. And he went,
Yeah.
what's that? And then looked at us and then ran away.
Yeah, he turned around and said something.
I went,
like
sorry.
He wanted an argument, and then he realised we were both much bigger than him and went, oh, sorry. Sorry.
Fear in his eyes.
Sorry.
Beautiful.
Well, he turned around. What did he say? Like
I said sarcastically, because we were looking in the window and he walked right in front of me.
Didn't he bump into you?
And I went, oh, excuse you. And he turned around and was like, what was that? And I said, excuse you.
Yeah. And I was like,
And then he was like, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, it was delicious.
Oh, remember when I picked you up from was it Slipknot? Rammstein. And that couple got out and they were very argumentative. And they quickly learned that I was more argumentative and bigger. And that tiny policeman that come over to try and so what's going on here? I was like, that guy's a prick. He's a fucking retard.
Get him out of here.
Because didn't I call him a retard? And they were like, call me that. And I said it again. And then didn't the woman say something to you?
Yeah, I called her a cunt. And then she was like, say that again.
And
I was like, oh, you want to be called it twice? Most people only want the one.
Say that again and see what happens. All right, then, you're a cunt. What are you going to do?
People are funny.
Yes. But that puts people on the spot when you say, well, what are you going to do about it? Because then they have a choice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, nothing really. I'll go home and I'll think about it when I'm in the shower. What I would have done and said if you'd have been tied up.
Or in my brain in that moment, I'd think about smashing your head into the floor.
Yeah, I would fight you, but I've got bad back. That's my back.
Got bones in my legs.
And you're a lot bigger than I am, and I don't really want to get hurt.
Anyway.
Yes. Anyway, we are 41 hour and 40 minutes into the whiskey hour. So anyone watching, if you've got any other questions for us, feel free to fire away, because we'll give it a couple more minutes until I've finished my cigar. It's getting towards the end now. It's getting to the point where it's starting to burn my fingers.
So you know it's working.
And you finished yours. 3 of them.
3 of them. I know. Look at me go.
That's quick. How many's left? How many you got left?
A bunch.
A bunch? How much were they actually? Were
12 quid for
a reasonable price?
I think there's like 12.
10?
I think there's 10. 1, 2, 3, Yeah, there's 10. I've got some.
Yeah. Well, they're quite handy, aren't they? Because if you want a cigar but you don't have a lot of time,
Yeah,
they
only take like
what
10
are they, like,
minutes.
10 minutes,
Yeah.
10-minute smokes. This is an hour and 30-minute smoke.
It is.
And this is only a 5.5-inch cigar. I have one that's a 7, which would probably turn the whiskey hour into the whiskey day.
2 hour. The whiskey night.
Yeah, the whiskey evening. I think I'm going to do that at one point.
I just sit all day.
There is a cigar out there, which to me is a challenge, and I am all for a challenge because I'm very determined. And it is
pig-headed.
It is a 10-inch 100 ring gauge cigar, which for people who don't know cigars, this is about a 50 ring gauge, so it's twice as thick as this. And this was 5.5 inches, so it's about double the length.
So silly.
So, and from what I've heard, it takes about 5 to 8 hours to smoke.
Oh.
And I do kind of want to try it.
That's
so, and apparently it makes you feel sick, because if you smoke 2 cigars, and they're strong, it will make you feel a little bit sick because they're quite strong. Like Martin, he tried one of mine and he accidentally inhaled it and he was almost sick in front of everyone in the pub.
Went green.
Yeah, he was coughing his guts up. And I went, you're not supposed to inhale it. You just take it in your mouth and taste it and then blow it out. And then he was almost sick. But bless him. He's an indoor cat.
It's only little.
I'm a street cat. I'm a scruffy gypsy street cat. So I can eat the mouldy chicken out of the bins and I'll survive, whereas he'll end up in hospital. So, any more questions?
No.
We have two viewers. I'm quite red at the minute. I look quite red in this light. So, how would you rate your cigars?
I would rate them.
Would you recommend them? I'll ask you some
I
questions.
can't recommend this kind of shit because I don't really know anything about it. I picked them off the shelf. I went, those ones, please.
How much are they? Are they less than £20? Yes.
I have them. Like,
what's the cheapest thing you have?
Doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't.
Remember when we went in the whiskey shop? So, what's the cheapest whiskey you have? Because he was trying to sell me £100 bottle of whiskey, and I was like,
maybe that.
I don't know. I mean, I get what you're trying to do. He's recommending
He was selling it like I think he was probably on commission for it.
Yeah. But I went in there for a very specific whiskey,
and
he was trying to lure me onto a more expensive one, and I was just like, man, nah. I mean, if you want to give me a discount, I'll try it out.
Give it me for 50 quid.
Yeah. Half price? I'll drink it on my YouTube channel and promote your shop.
Oh, you're gonna be that kind of guy.
Oh, I might go in. Have you not seen me on the internet? This should be free, mate. Don't you know who I am? I'm that guy that was on that one video.
I'll pay you in promotions.
I hate people like that, but I would definitely do that. But I would do it as like a joke.
Yeah. It's the people that want like free dinners and like free cakes and stuff.
Well, there was that girl that I think I've told you this story, but I haven't told the 2 watchers this story. When I used to work as security, I did pubs as a bouncer, and there was a few times when the manager would come over and be like, there's something going on over there, I need you to deal with it. So I'd go over, and anyway, I went to this table, and there was a girl sat at this table who looked like, not to sound, how can I put this PC? She looked like a prostitute.
That's not PC.
All right, she looked like a whore, and she probably was. So she looked like a whore, and she was sat around a table with 4 or 5 guys. I say guys, like they weren't men. They were just like
Mantlets.
Yeah, they were male genders, but they were little skinny runts, and they had like man buns and
Somewhere in
like
between children and
yeah,
adolescents.
So there were simps.
Youths.
There were simps.
They
So there
call
was a
youths.
whore and a simp, and she had a bottle of vodka, like cheap Tesco vodka, which is what, like 10 quid a bottle, probably less than that. Yeah. Plonked in the middle of the table, and she was like, just filling everyone's glass. And I just went, yeah, you can't do that in here. Like, it's a pub. You come in a pub, you buy drinks. You can't just bring your own beer. And she said, don't you know who I am? And I went, well, who the fuck are you then? And she was like, oh. And they were all like, and she was like, he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know who I am. And I went, well, who the fuck are you then? And she went, I'm an Instagram model. Bearing in mind, this was in 2014.
Yeah.
So this is
before it like blew up.
This is 10 years ago, almost. And I didn't know what Instagram was at the time because I was still on MySpace then. And I went, what the fuck is that? And she was like, I'm an Instagram model. And back then, that meant nothing. It still means nothing now, really.
Yeah, it meant even less back then.
Yeah. But she said, I'm an Instagram model. And I said, well, what's that? And she was like, I have like 1 million followers on Instagram. And I said, well, I don't know who you are. I don't give a shit what that is. But it doesn't matter. You can't. Like, if you think you're famous, why are you buying an £8 bottle of vodka? Why don't you buy some proper drinks instead of being a dickhead? So I took it off them. I was like, no. Like, it's either going down the drain or I'll go put it outside, and then you can go outside and you can go and stay there and drink it in the alleyway, which is probably what you should be doing because you're an alleyway tramp. Anyway, that happened, and I was just like, from then on, I was like, anyone who said, don't you know who I am, unless I genuinely recognize her, like if Tom Cruise was in there.
Yeah, but even like rules are fucking rules.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Rules are rules. If Tom Cruise was in there,
you'd still do the same thing.
I'd be like, I'm not being funny, but he's still a person in a pub. Buy some fucking drinks or piss off. Or go drink at home. Have a house party. Don't pretend you're famous with all your little simps and then act like you think you're better than me. Like, at the end of the day, I can throw you out on the street and then you're just a street whore. And I'm still in the dry. You're sat out in the rain with a cheap bottle of vodka and some nerdy little simps with you. But yeah. So obviously, when I used to do that job, I did upset a few people, but it was deserved.
Yeah, but it's in the job role, isn't it? Like, people think bouncers are pricks, and you might as well live up to that expectation.
Yeah, well, as far as bouncers go, I was very nice to people. I was very understanding. I always treated people the way I would want to be treated, but I expected people to act in a manner that I would expect someone to act. Like, I wouldn't be a dick in a pub like that. So why should you?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed this cigar, and I shall definitely be buying myself a box when
time comes.
When I have some spare money. Just see if we can get that off there. Yeah. So there it is. There's the label. Hope we can get a clear focus camera. Focus. It's because the lights are in front of the camera. But yeah, it's a Charter Oak Pascal Foundation Cigars. It's a different taste to the other Charter Oaks. It's stronger. Mm-hmm. But it's a very easy to smoke cigar. It's not too strong. They do a milder version, which I will be doing a review of in the next episode. And also, this this show might be moving onto the Patreon as an exclusive. So obviously the first episode, nobody's seen us yet. And it's not just going to be us doing it. It's going to be me and Williams doing it.
Yeah, next time we might have someone who's more invested in cigars.
Some actual cigar aficionados on.
I can smoke cigarettes.
On the show. Yeah, but that's gypsy behaviour. So yeah, on the next episode, I shall do the milder Charter Oak. Potentially I'll be trying some more new cigars. That's also a new one to me. But I have 3 new cigars that I've never tried before, and I will be giving honest reviews on them. And for the price, it's very reasonably priced. They're about £10 if you buy them from overseas. They're not available in the UK yet. But the regular Charter Oaks are double the price in the UK that they are in America.
It's because they're imported, but they always slap some more money on imported stuff.
Yeah. But they're worth it. I mean, if this cigar was 20 quid, I'd say it's a reasonable cigar. It's nice. As for the whiskey, the Sexton single malt Irish whiskey, the bottle is
cool. The little skull
amazing. The skull on the top.
It's got a little top hat.
The bottle itself is actually really nice. I mean, even if you drank it and just kept it on the shelf, or if you had a drinks cabinet, I would put that as a centerpiece. It's very nice. It's quite a hefty bottle as well. When I saw it online, I expected it to be tiny. I expected it to be like that.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, well, there's probably not going to be a lot in there. But it's actually quite a big glass. Mm-hmm. And it's strong, if you like strong tasting whiskey. The percentage is 40%. So it's actually quite low as far as whiskey goes.
Yeah.
That's about done. So that is the first episode of the Whiskey Hour, which will be mostly me and friends talking about various things, talking a little bit about whiskey, a little bit about cigars, and then UFC, and reminiscing about remember back in the 90s before most people these days existed.
The early 2000s weren't too bad either.
Yeah, remember when comedy was like good? Remember when you were allowed to make jokes about stuff? Yeah. But yeah, we've got the window open, like just there, to let all the smoke out. And it's starting to get a bit chilly now, isn't it? Just a little. Are you getting cold?
Yeah, you're in a t-shirt. I've got a cardigan.
And I'm also getting quite hungry now because drinking whiskey and smoking cigars builds up an appetite. So I'm going to finish this off, probably off camera, because there's a little bit left. But I think I'm going to wrap that up there. We're 1 hour and 53 minutes in.
Yeah,
so
bum hurts a little bit.
Yeah. The cigar, that's because you sat on that spiky thing. It's because you sat on your glass instead of next to it. So anyone who's joined to watch or will watch after the stream has ended, hope you enjoyed. And feel free to comment on suggestions for other whiskies, other cigars. I'm willing to try something new. I do have a lineup of Highland Park whiskey that I'm yet to try. We have quite a strong one, a cask strength, which is about 60%, which I'm guessing is going to blow my head off. And I also have some new cigars that I'm going to be trying in the coming episodes. And if people want us to talk about particular things, or me to talk about particular things, or rant about things, I'm happy to do that. If you want to talk about how bad the traffic is, how bad the roads are, how annoying people in supermarkets can be. What do you think of the gays, immigration, anything like
Stay
that?
away from politics. Politics and religion is a no-go.
Yeah. Or just anything, films, games, music, the gym, fitness, MMA, UFC, anything, boxing. I'm happy to talk about it if I know about it. And if I don't know about it, I'm happy to learn some about it. So what do we have here? What's that say?
If you need glasses, do a countdown to Christmas series, good gifts to give, cigars, etc.
Yes,
Ooh.
I agree.
How to get shiny glossy hair series.
Oh, is that for me? Or was that for you? Who has the shiniest, glossiest hair of the two of us? The votes are in. Who has the shiniest hair? Who's the fairest of them
Who's
all?
got the most hair?
Who has the biggest biceps?
Boring. Me, obviously.
In your dreams, bro. Stupid bitch. What's that say? I can't read it. Read it to me. I don't have my glasses.
I'll let y'all debate that.
All right then. Well, I
It's
hope.
definitely me.
I hope. Mental. Have you seen this?
It's just grease.
Have you seen that?
It's pure grease.
It's called pomade.
Grease.
Yeah. Well, I did clean this hair today. Silky smooth. Silky smooth. I haven't put any beard juice in today.
Me neither.
So my beard is looking a little bit scruffy. But yeah, hope you have enjoyed the show, and also subscribe, because I keep forgetting to say that. I've been on YouTube for over 2 years now.
Amateur.
And I never say subscribe.
Subscribe.
Doesn't cost you any money, so just press it. But it makes me feel better. And I need that because I'm very miserable. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed the show for the last time. And I hope you enjoyed the cigars and the conversation. And we will be back again probably next week.
Maybe.
Next weekend. At the very least, I will be back next weekend, even if I have to do the show myself. And then I will be definitely just ranting about things.
It'll turn out 4 hours.
Yeah, it would be a 4-hour rant of me drinking a whole bottle of whiskey and smoking half a dozen cigars. Right, so we shall call it there. You read out the names of the people that have commented. I can't read that; it's too small. And
the Local Queen is that? Thank you. And Mr. Mask Maker, we know who that is.
Yes, I wonder who that is. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. And does that say end stream? Yeah. Come back for the next episode next weekend. And if you subscribe to the channel, I will put out notifications or something, or videos announcing when it's going to be, what I'm going to be drinking, and what I'm going to be smoking. And I will give an honest first impression of those things. So, see you in the next episode. See you later, dudes.